Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the NBA Front Office Show and happy Valentine's Day. Let's spread the love. Sometimes we get a little too wrapped up in some of the negativity in the sports world and all that. People get angry. But today, let's spread the love and let's honor the can I call it a holiday? Quasi holiday? I don't know what to make of this, but I'm Trevor Lane, joined by Keith Smith at Keith Smith NBA. Keith, did you do anything for Valentine's Day today?
So my wife surprised us by coming home with some chocolates for my daughter and I from the store the other day. So we were caught a little bit off guard and didn't have anything prepared. But she loves cookie cake, so I was
Oh,
able to get her a little heart-shaped cookie cake today while I was at the store picking a few things up. So I think I covered myself okay.
very nice. Well done. Well done. So my wife and I had determined that we were going to do absolutely nothing for Valentine's Day. We said no, dead set. Like this isn't a I'm telling you not to get me anything, but really I want you to get me something. Like you know how that goes sometimes.
Sure.
It was not one of those. But I just so happened to have to make a run to the grocery store, and so I'm like, well, if I'm at the store, like I kind of have to get so I grabbed some flowers. So,
There you go.
we went that. We kept it pretty simple, but I did that. But I'll tell you what, Keith,
Perfect.
going back to a previous life back when I was a teacher, I used to do this day in history, and I always loved Valentine's Day because I got to put up the heading every Valentine's Day. This day in history, Saint Valentine was beheaded. And the kids are all thinking it's all hearts and flowers and all that kind of stuff, and then I get to tell this kind of somewhat gruesome story. I'm not going to tell the whole thing right now. People can go look it up if they want, but
I'm
nonetheless,
gonna
yes,
do that as soon as we finish recording. I'm gonna look up the history of that because that was one that had slipped my mind.
it's
Uh,
it's
yeah,
actually pretty good and like makes some sense in terms of why we have this day and why it's perpetuated over the years and all that. Kind of an interesting story. But again, I would bore some of our listeners and viewers. We will try to stick to basketball as much
yeah.
as
This
we
is
as we
this is
can
not
here.
stuff you missed in history class podcast,
No,
which is a
no.
phenomenal podcast that I like quite a bit. But yeah, we'll stick to stuff you missed around the NBA.
That's right. That's right. And we'll start things off, of course. We'll start with the Orlando Magic and go get
Yeah.
Batad's Day. I mean, this is obviously the top level story here, but the Magic make a signing. We do have some other ones to get into that might be a little bit bigger in terms of star power and everything, but still Orlando making some moves here.
Yeah, after trading Mo Bamba to the Lakers, they needed another big, and why not, right? If you're the Magic, these are the kind of moves you should be making. Sounds like it's a 2-year deal. It was reported as a team option for the second year. We'll see if that's a team option or if there's non-guaranteed money. Often those terms are used interchangeably in reporting when there is some slight differences on that, but we'll find that out. But yeah, Batadze, why not, right? If you're the Magic, take a shot, see if this guy can pop and become something. He's only 23. He'll be 24 over the summertime. He was having arguably maybe last year was probably his best year, but this year he's playing pretty similar, just in very, very limited appearances and minutes. So I don't know if there's anything to this or not, but why not? Right? If you're the Magic, just take a shot and find out. If it's nothing, then fine, you move on. All right, we need to get a better backup center to Wendell Carter Jr. in the offseason and go from there. And if it becomes something, great. You have a kind of a low cost flyer.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're in the Orlando Magic's position, you might as well do stuff like this. It's not going to hurt you. Give it a
Yep.
shot. If it works, great. And if it does, and look, it's a low risk, medium reward potentially, right? That's the kind of moves that you should be doing right now. Anyway,
Yep.
Steph Curry to be reevaluated after the All Star break. Now, I would be surprised if he was back like right away. I think he's going to be out for a little bit, but reevaluated anyway. The Warriors need him back as soon as they can. They did hang on, get a win last night, but
Mhm.
nonetheless, they do need Steph back in action as quickly as they can get him out there. But they also need him 100% healthy. So we'll find out after the All Star break. We'll get a better sense of truly how long he's going to be out.
Yeah, and to your point, that was a needed win because everybody around them is kind of continuing to win games on occasion, and those teams that are right in that play mix. And then it's just it continues to be super tight there in the Western Conference. They're 29 and 28, ninth in the conference right now, but they're only a game out of or a game and a half out of fourth. So still hanging around in that picture. But I don't think Phoenix is gonna start playing bad again. I think the
Right.
Suns have turned that corner for good now, as long as they're healthy, and they'll keep winning games. But yeah, if you're the Warriors, just keeping pace, I guess, is lack of a better term there, while Steph is out, and then hopefully you can make your run with 15 or so games left in the season, and may make your run at pushing into that top six. Because if you're not in the top six, you've just made your path really, really hard. Because then you got to win in the play in, and you're gonna have to win all your series on the road. That just gets really difficult.
The Warriors, it wouldn't shock me if they wound up being the team to make the Western Conference Final, like a Warriors Phoenix matchup or a Warriors Denver
Sure.
matchup wouldn't shock me in the Western Conference Finals at all. Even though they've kind of been, down near the bottom of the conference, there's still that team that I think come playoff time could definitely turn things up, and especially with how tight things are in the West right now.
Yeah, I completely agree. And and it's one of those things where you're looking across the court and it's like, man, now I got to deal with the Warriors and Steph
Yeah.
for the next 2 weeks of the playoff series. Like that starts to get a little bit tough. So we'll definitely see how that all comes together here for them. But yeah, I think you want to get that top six if you can.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's get to NBC. Could the NBA be heading back to NBC? Can we get the theme music back?
Yeah, well, that's got to be a guarantee, right? If not,
Right?
like round ball rock. If we can't get round ball, that's like a tongue twister for me for some reason. Yesterday was the Boston accent slipping out, and today I can't speak. Round ball rock coming back. Then why are we doing this, right? There's no reason to do this at all.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the kind of thing that you need to get. You need to make part of the deal. You have to. It's iconic. You have to have
Yep.
that. Now, what are your thoughts here? Because we've heard like Amazon, we've heard Apple, like, and Apple has
Mhm.
MLS now, Major League Soccer.
Mhm.
We've heard, some of these other companies, the ones that may not, traditionally think of with sports. We saw Amazon had NFL Thursday Night Football this year. Like that bridge is starting to be crossed. NBC, can they ward off suitors like that? Of course, ESPN is going to be the. I mean, what are your thoughts here on this supposed bidding war that could be happening here for the NBA's rights?
Yeah, I think the NBA has been very clear. They're hoping to create at least one new package of games somehow to somebody. Whether we it was a lot often assumed that would have been one of the streamers, but NBC in this report, this I can't remember where this came out. It was one of the business reporting sites of sports. But when it came out, one of the things was NBC wants to use this to maybe put some stuff on Peacock. I
Mhm.
will hand up. I'm a Peacock subscriber solely for the Premier League. That's the only real reason we have Peacock here in the Smith House, so that I can watch Premier League games. So it's I get it, right? If they go that direction. What is it? YouTube is picking up Sunday Ticket from
Yeah.
DirecTV, so
Yep.
that's a big, major change there. So I think you're going to see the NBA start to split things off. I think ESPN, ABC will still be involved. I think TNT and Turner, they're still going to be involved, and they have exclusive windows. So it'll either be, hey, pay more to keep those really exclusive rights to just you two, or we could keep doing. ESPN does their Wednesday, Friday, Saturday package. TNT, you can keep doing your Tuesday, Thursday, but that leaves us with Monday and maybe some Sundays. I know they do matinee games on Sundays on ABC
Yeah.
on occasion, but maybe a Monday night NBA package becomes a thing, or maybe it's a Monday and Wednesday night become a thing, or something like that. Well, we'll see. But I think it's going to be really interesting to watch how this pays off. Now, I did have somebody say to me, which was really kind of interesting, was like, I just hope whatever they do, you can still get games on League Pass, because they were like, I don't want to
Yeah.
have to add a whole other streaming service to not miss out on some stuff. But if you're the company that's got a streaming service, that's why you're kind of doing this, right? Is to get people to buy in and add. So we'll see. I'm very curious to see how this pays out.
Yeah, I was going to
Plays
say
out
from a
and pays out.
consumer perspective, which is the perspective that most of our viewers and listeners are going to look at this from. Is this a good thing? I think my concern is, oh my, if this gets chopped up any further, and next thing you know, you have to have Peacock, you have to have, let's say, you have to have, was it Amazon Prime? You've got to have a cable streaming option with TNT. You have to have, all of this different stuff. It becomes difficult. It becomes more problematic to find the games, and I think that's not a good thing. I think for me, the ideal situation would be just give me all of the games in one place with no blackouts, right? And that's unrealistic. But what are your thoughts from that side of things, from the consumer's perspective? Is this bad or is this good?
Yeah, I don't really love it from that idea. Like, I like being able to we've all kind of come to terms, right? Like, I think about on a Wednesday night, right? ESPN usually has two games. So, or Thursday, TNT has two games. But the rest, I can turn on League Pass, and I generally watch more through DirecTV as our cable provider.
Sure.
So, but I get into the League Pass menu there, and then I can find all the games right there, right in one spot, and I can channel flip and all those things. If it's, okay, well, these four games are on League Pass and these two are on national TV, and then these two happen to be over on Apple and those kind of things. Like, I don't know. I just don't like the idea of turning on and off a whole bunch of different things. And also, like, the thing they've not cracked for me personally with the streaming side of it is the channel flipping. Like, it's too
Yeah.
hard, right? Because you're going in and out of apps and all those things. Now, someone will probably jump in the comments and be like, "Hey, old man, you do it this way, and it's very easy." And this is get with the times, and that's great. Teach me, educate me, because I would love to know. But that's been the thing where I've been kind of lost. Well, with that is that's also part of why I haven't cut the cord. I also have mostly stuck with cable too, because it's a little more reliable, even with DirecTV, than streaming tends to be sometimes. And I hear all these horror stories every year. First couple nights is League Pass mobile is broken, or League Pass
Yeah.
streaming is broken and down, and those are the things that I've never, quite frankly, had to deal with watching on TV. So yeah, I get it though, right? This is just where this is going. It's just gonna be something we're gonna have to adjust to, and I think this is where it goes. And I mean, it's going to bring more money into the league. And I know it's another story related to this is the NBA is basically, or experts are saying they're probably not going to triple their media rights package. They'll probably more like double it. But still, even if you land double to triple, somewhere 2.5 times what it was, that's still a ton more money
Yeah.
coming into the league. And they're going to be continuing to do well with this, and we'll ultimately see where it goes.
Oh, damn it. We're only gonna double our money. Come
Right, I
on.
know,
That's
only.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
But
shocking.
this has been something we've been talking about, what this is gonna mean, because there is a domino effect here where more money coming in means more to the BRI, which means the salary cap goes up.
Yep.
So is this something that, like, do you think teams have made any kind of moves or anything like that in preparations for it tripling and now find out it's doubling and they go, oh no, I don't feel like we're at that point, but this is something teams are going to have to keep an eye on, because there is going to be an impact on exactly what the salary structure looks like. And of course, the new CBA is going to be a major component to that.
Yeah, those are the two things that are going hand in hand. They're obviously going to get the new CBA rules here earlier than the TV deal, because that's happening right now, right? They're negotiating the CBA, and that got pushed back again, which some people got nervous, but that's actually a good thing that they're still working on it. There's nobody's thrown their hands up and said no deal, and strike, lockout, whatever you want to call it,
We're out of
coming
here.
down the line. Like this is good news. So we're in a position though with this stuff where, as we look at it, it does turn into, all right, well, what we end up becoming with this is, yeah, you got to start planning your moves out. Now, the league is pretty good about providing teams with estimates. Usually they kind of give them, all right, here's what next year, maybe the year after will be. And this will be something where you'll have a bunch of the team cap experts as well, working with the leagues, like legal entities and that, to say, all right, what are we really kind of looking at? So they're not going completely blind, but there could be some errors in planning, where it's, well, we thought the cap was going to be 170 million, and now it's 155 million
Yeah.
instead. And we extended a guy we maybe would have been a little more cautious on with that. But I think for the most part, teams will be really smart about how they handle this, because they'll have pretty good stuff to work off of moving forward.
All I know is when the cap goes up, Luol Deng gets like $80 million. That's what happens. So
That is
teams are
true.
going to have to be
And
careful.
Timofey Moskov, don't forget
And
him.
Timofey Mozgov gets like 64 million. Yep. How crazy. It's still, I've made this point before, but how crazy is it that we're years removed? I mean, years and years, what, like 5 years
Yeah,
removed from that, maybe more removed from
7,
that. And
right?
that is it. And the cap has gone up a ton since then. And those still look horrific. Those deals. Like, how is that possible?
Yeah, those weren't good in the time. They've not aged well either.
No, no. Okay, back to some transactions here. Mac McClung
Yeah.
he signs a two-way deal with the 76ers. The Thomas and Mac McClung Center in Las Vegas, as it was for one magical summer league for Mac McClung. That he was a lot of fun to watch play. But Keith, I think we've talked about this in reference to Mac McClung before. Is he that proverbial 4A guy, or can this be finally his breakthrough here with the 76ers?
We'll see. I think he probably is that guy. He's probably a little too good for the G League, not quite ready for the NBA. Not clearly going to see a lot of time with the Sixers. That's a high end team that's going to be making a run, do what they hope will be very deep into the playoffs. So we'll see with this one. But this is just kind of making an adjustment, and I think the Sixers saying, we're okay up front now. What we could really use is another guard, but they got Jalen McDaniels at the trade deadline, so we're pretty good on the wing with him coming in. He can fill in on the wing. So let's get one more guard, one more ball handler in the system, and then we'll move it forward. So yeah, I think we'll see. I'm not expecting much. They've been. I can't swear to this, but they've been definitely on the lower end of two-way usage this year. Some teams have used their two-way players very heavily. I think the Sixers are pretty low on their two-way usage this season.
Yeah, so probably not, and it makes sense. More of a veteran team looking to win right now, and and all of that. So, um, we'll see what Mac McClung can do there. All right, let's
One
jump
thing to
to
keep an eye on, I said this the other day
yeah.
with Quentin Jackson of the Wizards, and it did turn out to be a 2-year two-way. Some of these later two-way contracts turn out to be 2 years because what you're really doing is you're bringing the guy in now with the idea of now we're locking him in for next season. And then that gives you a summer league body already in place, a guy you could kind of really now we can really get working in our G League system and our NBA system and see if there's something there. So wouldn't shock me if when this one comes to fruition, if this is a 2-year two-way.
Good point. Good point. Something to watch for potentially. I love that the words summer league are already starting to be mentioned here because that is so much fun. And
They're being mentioned in the Smith House because I think I'm hoping to make my triumphant return to Las
all
Vegas
right,
this summer. But
let's
alongside you,
go.
maybe we'll do in studio, in person shows if possible, or something. We'll
That's
see.
right. That'll be a
Yeah.
lot of fun. We'll be over at we'll go head over to the Blue Wire Studios and get some stuff done there for Summer League. It is a
Okay.
blast. So we're definitely gonna have to do that. All right, let's finish things off with Charles Bassey to the Spurs on a 4-year deal. Typically, you don't see 4-year deals going down this time of year, but the Spurs, they've got the kind of room to make stuff like this happen. And I would imagine when the details come out, we're gonna have at least a few of these years are non-guaranteed.
Yeah, my guess is what the Spurs did is they used some of that leftover cap space. This is a two-way player that they've had. People may remember he was with the Sixers
Mhm.
previous, and the Sixers had to make a cut at the end of the preseason, and they waived him. The Spurs brought him in on a two-way. Big guy with a ton of potential. They don't have a lot up front after trading away Jakob Pertl. It's Zach Collins and kind of piece it together behind him a little bit at the center spot. So now Charles Bassey, my guess, is going to come in. He was, again, another one of these two-way moves and probably gave him a nice little bump in salary this year using some of that leftover cap space. Spurs were still sitting on about 20 million plus for after the trade deadline. So give him a bump here, get him to add on a couple years. Like you said, probably at least 2 years of those are going to be non-guaranteed, but the Spurs will retain a little bit of control moving forward, get a real nice look at that Charles Bassey over the next couple of seasons, likely on the cheap, and see what he can do to fit in there with that team. And this will open up a two-way spot. He's going to fill the spot that was open when Stanley Johnson was waived. Stanley Johnson, I'm keeping my eye open. 5 o'clock just passed here on the
Yeah.
East
Did he
Coast.
get claimed?
Yeah, I'm waiting to find out if he got claimed off waivers because I think he was a good opportunity to be claimed. We'll do a quick little Lakers note on that. Not eligible to return
Yep.
to the Lakers. We get asked that question quite a bit of, why don't the Lakers just go get Stanley Johnson? Can't because he was traded to Utah and then waived by Utah. Had Utah traded him to a third team, he would have been eligible. But since the last team he was traded from was the Lakers before he was waived, not eligible to return to the Lakers for a year. So that's why they will not be claiming him, nor will they be signing Stanley Johnson this season.
Yeah. Again, they are the last team that traded him, and because of the way it's worded, that means they're not able to sign him. Speaking of which, though, signings and all of that kind of stuff, the buyout market, I'm expecting this to continue to heat up. There's still some interesting names out there.
Mhm.
We've talked about Will Barton, we've talked about Kevin Love. There's a number of players that could get bought out in the coming weeks here, so something to keep an eye on. And then, of course, the big one, Russell Westbrook. Where does he ultimately land? We're going to be keeping an eye on all that kind of stuff. I know a lot of fans have been asking, "Hey, who's the next guy on the buyout market?" And this is all going to start heating up around this time of year. It's right after the
Mhm.
trade deadline. That's when stuff really gets going. So again, that's my long-winded way of saying subscribe to the NBA Front Office YouTube channel as well as the podcast feed on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, wherever it is you listen to podcasts, because we're going to keep you up to date on all of that stuff. What's going on in the buyout market? Who could potentially sign who? And all of that. I really think, and we've talked about this before, Keith. There's the potential for this to be a more not super impactful, but a more impactful buyout market than we've seen in years past.
Yeah, I think so. There's definitely going to be a handful more guys that are going to pop free. We'll see. Time buyouts kind of come in waves. You get the initial guys that were either didn't get traded at the deadline or were traded, obviously, in moves that were more cap related for the team acquiring them. Those guys get bought out and go. Most of those guys, so the guys like Reggie Jackson, Terrence Ross, Danny Green, those guys are all clearing waivers today. So my guess is we'll start to hear probably sometime within the next hour or two. We're going to start getting some of those tweets coming out from teams that are, we have signed player X
Official.
because they've now cleared waivers with this. So we'll find out, but for sure. But yeah, we're in a position where it is, got a lot more to go, and buyout season will last about 2 more weeks because it's March 1st. Everybody has to be waived by in order to be eligible for the playoffs. So we'll see. There tends to be usually 1 or 2 that come in that last week where it's like a team traded for a guy and it's like, yeah, we played him for a couple weeks. And then we all kind of agreed, this probably isn't where this is going. And then that guy gets set free. So we'll see how that all kind of comes together here over the next couple weeks. But as it does, we'll cover it all for you.
That's right. That's right. We will. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Have a very happy Valentine's Day. Till next time, see ya and stay safe.